Tammy says I got too much of her in the picture. But she's forgetting that you don't watch this to look at me. I know that. But I may get a few extra fans with Tammy. You think, Tammy?
No.
No? I'd be looking at you. Okay.
It's because you're old.
Myopic eyes?
You're old.
I am old. I am old. But there's a certain amount of reverence that you get as you get older with this grey hair. So
Reverence?
Yeah, reverence. And I don't mean that in a religious point of view. I meant more in terms of respect.
Okay.
The respect comes from having bred dogs for how long now, Tammy?
18 years. Well, with Frenchies alone, 18 years.
Yes, and other dogs.
8 years before that was Labradors.
Yeah, I mean, 26
Before
years.
that.
Yeah, so we do have a lot of experience here.
No, we
and,
did a jiu-jitsu a couple of times. We've done the
poodles,
my daughter's
Chihuahuas,
long-haired
Labs.
Chihuahuas,
labs.
Labs.
Until we found the Frenchies, and then what happened?
Did German Shepherds for a couple
German
of years.
Shepherds, yeah. And then
So when we found Frenchies, that was our love right
was
there.
it. That was our
18 years of it. So
that's our passion.
proves
isn't
the
it?
point.
Has been ever since. In fact, I did a video that I'm going to put up tomorrow where I took Kit, our You're a Hero to be bred, and while I was waiting for the people to show, because we actually use an outside stud on this, I did a little short
She's
video.
so pretty.
She is so pretty. Anyway,
She's
here we
got
go.
Perfect conformation, I think.
Jessica
Other people may
Holmes
not,
from
but-
17 minutes ago, very fresh on this one, Jessica. We're responding to you immediately because you're important. Our first litter, we got 3 puppies. Now a different female has just scanned and only 2 puppies. Both AI'd on the right numbers. Dates work out to be correct from ovulation. Is there anything we can be doing wrong? Because getting small litter sucks. Yeah, well, it does suck, but I mean, yeah. So you
I
didn't.
don't mind small litters.
Well, I mean, 4 and 5 is a great number, is it, for Frenchies? Very, 6 and 7. You start to get to 7. We just had a litter here not long ago of 10. It's a lot of work when you have that many because you got some small puppies.
Those were full visual fluffies too. That
Yeah.
was work.
It was work, yes. Okay, well look, here's my advice to you. You say that you did it right, correct from ovulation, but here's the thing I think you're not doing. You're not doing a progesterone test when you think that you're finished to make sure the numbers are where you want them to be. The problem that I run into a lot is finding this out, especially since now we have progesterone machines ourselves and it's inexpensive to do tests, that we find quite frequently the dogs are stalled out and you think you're in the right place, but in fact you're still low. So my advice what I do these days is I start breeding on an IDEX machine to be about a 15. I breed that if I can 2 days later and I test numbers again to make sure those numbers are now high, above 20. If they're not, the dog stalled out, may have to do another breeding or breedings. So the bird will stop being bumpy in here in a moment. I've got that piece of cloth in the way, sorry about that. Okay, there we go, that's better. MC, this is an hour ago. Question to James, not to Tammy, but to James. Breeding medium to large breed dogs, first time with natural breedings. Second heat, at first heat was 2 weeks. So that's shorter than I used to. Well, let's get to the meat of this. What is the earliest you've ever seen a dog that is ready to be mated? Progesterone tests are out of the question. Well, day 6. Day 6, that's very uncommon. Typically, if you've got a breeding you're doing on day 6, it probably means that you probably didn't catch the beginning of the heat. Maybe because the dog is cleaning itself up or other dogs are cleaning the dog up. But day 6, so I recommend to people they do their first progesterone test if that's what you're doing on day 6 or 7. Because that way you can avoid this, missing it. Yeah. Would you breed every day from there until she shot? No, I would not. I'd breed every other day, by the way. I would start, if you didn't know what's going on, I may have already answered this question, but I know I've answered it a zillion times, but the answer is, I would be testing. If I wasn't testing, I'd start breeding when the blood color was turning light about day 8, 9. I'd breed every other day until I felt like I'd done enough of it. CG says this guy's a legend. Thank you. See, that's the respect that I want. That is it right there. CG, you are a smart person. Thank you very much.
A legend in his own time.
A legend in my own mind.
Exactly.
Yes. Money Gang A says, I have a brindle merle English bulldog. His dad is a black tri-merle and mother is a brindle. Is it legitimate? His litter mates are chocolate morals. I'm not sure what you're asking me, but congratulations on your dogs.
Buffalo over there.
Yeah, they're pretty, aren't they? Longhorn buffalo off to our right. You can't see them, but they are pretty. Jeffrey says, so sables can show tan points. Yes, they can. In fact, a sable dog is a dog that is AYAT. It's got 1 copy, tan points.
Like our Winston.
Like Winston. If you look
Oh,
on
he
our
looks like a
website,
little wolf.
he does. He's very pretty. So if you see a dog that doesn't have brindle, you know, I keep talking about brindle, but here's one of the reasons. If you've got brindle, you ain't going to see it. A dog that does not have brindle, if it was KYKY, it'd be a fawn. If it's KY, if it was KYAT, excuse me, I get
AY.
AY. Thank you, Tammy.
It was like KY.
Yeah, what am I talking about?
What are you talking about?
AY, that's jelly. If it was AYAT, it'd be a sable. Which, how would you describe a sable?
Like a dark coloring on the back, like either a blue fawn dark coloring or
Kind of shading, kind of like, right?
Shading, like a saddle.
A kind of a frosting on its back.
Right.
Yes. And then it'll have expressions above its eyes of a lighter colour, maybe a little bit on its feet, maybe a little bit on its back end. If it was AT or ATA, you'd have full tan points. So it's the beginnings of tan points, and so it shows it a little bit. My puppy's litter mates had a couple of siblings that were solid blue. Okay, so those are probably AYAYs. The parents were a Merle Lilac with tan points and a solid blue. So the solid blue is AYAY, and the one with tan points is probably ATA, or it could be ATAT, and that would get you some of the dogs, half of them being either AYs, sables, or AYAs. They're just fawns.
Crazy traffic.
I haven't watched yet, but can a BB, can a little B, which is by the way testable chocolate, be a KB? They're independent of each other. So just because a dog's little b, it's got nothing to do with the K locus. Or remember, all of these genes, they're all completely independent. A dog that is little e cream can be AY, AYAT, AA, or ATA, or ATAT. They're completely separate of each other. So I think you're getting confused when you think that these things are married together, because they're not. There's no linkage between these genetics. It's just like saying, you know, I have the genes for brown eyes. And I've got a gene...
Because he's full of...
Yeah. And I presumably got a gene for early graying too, because I started showing gray when I was in my early 30s. So they were completely independent of each other. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have a look here what we're doing on time. We got time for another one.
No, because we're fixing to pull in.
Yeah, but it's because I have a 3-year-old fawn female. Her mum is a visual brindle and her dad is a visual fawn piebald. My female has 1 copy of piebald. Yes, she has to because she has a pied parent. That's right. No copies of brindle. Great. Mum has a single copy of brindle and she didn't inherit it from mum. Correct. And since she's a fawn, she's not going to have brindle. So that's also true. Is this possible? Yeah, there's the reason. I just basically gave you the reasons why before I read the last part of the question. A fawn dog doesn't have brindle. A parent that is pied will give offspring that are all at the very least carry a copy of pied. And then she goes on to say, my female is capital EM, full black mask. Big B, not testable chocolate. Big D, not blue. NN, not brindle. AYAY, fawn. NS, 1 copy of intensity. Yeah, so there you go. Absolutely correct. Nothing to worry about on that genetics. Javier Regalado says, I bought your Giardia test kits and they don't work. Well, you probably need to give me a call and find out what we've got going on here, because you know, we sell many hundreds a month of these tests and I don't get reports of things not working, and we use the heck out of them ourselves. So if you've got some problems with that, there's a phone number up there, that 806 number at the beginning. Just call that number and we'll help you out to figure out what is wrong. Have you ever seen a merle, this one's for Tammy, have you ever seen a merle that doesn't get the eye change? No blue eyes, just brown eyes.
Yes.
Yes, right, exactly. So tell us about colours of eyes in merles, Tammy.
Tell you about the colors? You can get
what colours you get?
blue, real pretty crystal blue eyes.
Yes, it's this big range, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
You
the
get
interesting thing.
brown or hazel.
Yep.
Or
Yep. So the interesting things you do see in merle that you don't see in other dogs, other non-merle dogs, is a variation in colours between two eyes. That's very common. Or an eye that even has a variation in colour across the one iris, where one iris might. We have a dog, Deja Vu, and one eye has got half white and half blue. So anyway, I've got to get out and say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.